Politics, politics, politics. Obviously, you know that there's important elections that are coming up, a presidential election, and one of the things that's very important is people having the opportunity to be able to utilize their voice. And how do we utilize our voice? It's by voting, right? One man, one woman, one vote. Well, here we go again. The stuff that we talked about with you previously on the show about situations that are occurring around the country where people are trying to be disenfranchised. And now we have another situation, Bert, that's going on in Florida. And I kind of want to talk about that and what the government is going to do in response to what the state of Florida has decided they're going to be doing.
Well, the state of Florida has been on a campaign for a good while to really disenfranchise the likely voters for Obama. That's plain and simple. Blacks, Hispanics, college students, young people, seniors, and they have what you would call a collateral damage approach, where if you to justify an ostensible standard or premise of preventing unqualified voters from voting. So the collateral damage theory is that if you get one, make sure you bring down 900 other qualified voters. So they produce lists from the election, from the license bureau, where from the licenses of people who were residents of Florida,
right? And
from there to draw out illegal voters from that. But those lists turned out to be unreliable, phony.
Well, let me ask a question, Bert, because it's something you mentioned on the show before, and I want to kind of reiterate it. What is the percentage of voter fraud that usually exists?
Oh, it's less than 1%.
Less than 1%.
Yes, it's actually out of the 2,000. Well, now they have. Well, Governor Scott actually claims, Governor Scott of Florida, that they found 86 voters. After all the 182,000 they pulled out, 86 voters that they found were not citizens.
You know, it's very interesting, Laurie, because we remember the hanging Chad stuff. Remember what happened in Florida. Remember how this country was almost divided by what was going on down in the state of Florida. You think that these elected officials would take more care about disenfranchising people, especially since that particular state is one of the states that's being watched by the federal government for violation of voters' rights down there in the first place.
Well, I think they've gotten away with so much before that they feel comfortable doing what they're doing now. And what they're doing is they're trying to purge the qualified voters so that they can have an edge during the election. They're also trying to they filed suit against the government because they want to actually get access to Homeland Security's records regarding immigration to see if they can use that to try and continue purging their record, purging individuals from the record so that they're not allowed to vote. But it's interesting because it's the same process that's been going on for a very long time, and the end result is that they're just trying to weigh the balance of the voting in their favor. But we really need to make sure that the government, stands firm, because I'm sure Homeland Security has a reason for keeping their records private in certain circumstances. And for this circumstance, I don't really think it's justified that they should be able to have access to what's supposed to be private information.
Do you think that the government is justified in suing the state of Florida? Do you think that there is past history that it demonstrates that the state is not really interested in supporting people's votes but disenfranchising people?
Oh, definitely. Florida, 5 counties in Florida were one of the original counties that were included under the requirement to have pre-clearance. They call it pre-clearance. You have to clear it first. Clear any changes in the voting law or policies or practices.
That's a good point.
Have to be cleared with the Justice Department before you do anything.
So in this particular situation, the things that the state of Florida has decided to try to do, have they pre-cleared these new procedures with the government?
They have not pre-cleared, and they're relying on what Laurie talked about, suing, demanding from the department that deals with terrorists, the Homeland Security Department,
right?
Lists of immigration lists people, who were supposed to be immigrants, and they're trying to draw from that. But there's also another rule that the Justice Department is enforcing, saying that you cannot make changes to the law prior to 90 days of the voting. In other words,
For a federal election?
for federal elections, because now the primary is supposed to be in August.
Okay.
In Florida, and they're doing this now, and this is in the 90-day window that they're not allowed to do that.
Yeah, it's in the Voting Rights Act, and they're
Yes.
violating that, and it's interesting because they know this, and the mere fact that they're doing it to wait until the government now calls their bluff is ridiculous, because they obviously have to know the law. And they're just doing things that they're doing as much as they can possibly get away with to see if they can.
That's an excellent point. They know it. It's not a matter of we sitting down, let's come reason together.
Right.
They're not thinking about reason. They just are going bullheaded down the track of making sure that as many voters that may go for Obama or the Democrats are eliminated from the whole scheme. But, however, all this may be moot because, interestingly enough, the election supervisors, there's the Association of Election Supervisors,
Right.
who are saying, who are objecting to what their own state is doing, and they will not purge any more of the list of about 2,000 more that the Florida wants them to purge,
Right.
to review that list. They're saying they won't do it. They said because they haven't found any of any significant number. That makes it. Plus, this costs money. We
Right.
talk about cutting budgets, but it costs money to go through all this process.
And I'm just wondering, because I think you had mentioned earlier in the conversation that there was like 186,000 people that they had identified on this list. Who's checking the people that's checking this list? Who's checking the work that these people are doing to make sure that we don't disenfranchise people that have actually voted? Now, you just said something I think is interesting. They found 86 people out of 186,000. That definitely is less than 1%.
Yes.
So I think that this is much to do about nothing. And I think, again, this is a key strategy of the Republicans to disenfranchise, like you said, President Obama's key base. And the question has to be, Lori, what is the key base doing about it? Where do you hear anything? Where's any uproar? Anyone speaking out against it? Now, I know Al Sharpton has had a event where he was talking about it in his particular organization. But where are there other organizations where the coalitions have been formed to kind of go about addressing this particular issue? I don't see anything like that.